The CE says changes to multiple entry permit policy not prompted by recent violent protests against parallel traders. Hillary Clinton announces her bid for U.S. president. And in Oklahoma, a policeman fatally shoots a black man by mistaking his gun for a taser.
Hello and a very good evening. We start tonight in America, where former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton took to social media to officially launch what is now her second bid for U.S. president. As Sonia Artero reports, Clinton hopes to win this time around by doing more for the middle class.
I'm running for president.
This 2-minute video is Hillary Clinton's way of jump-starting her run for the 2016 presidential election.
So I'm hitting the road to earn your vote.
Her Choose Me as President YouTube video appeals to a wide range of middle-class Americans. This includes blacks, Latinos, the youth, women, and couples, gay or straight, struggling to achieve the American dream.
She's saying everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. So it's all about them, not her.
Her main goal as president? To fight economic inequality.
Americans have fought their way back from tough economic times, but the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the top.
She also announced her presidential aspirations on Facebook and Twitter. Daughter Chelsea tweeted she's proud of her mom. But Republicans are already attacking Clinton in TV ads, like this one by potential Republican opponent Jeb Bush.
We must do better than the Obama-Clinton foreign policy that has damaged relationships with our allies and emboldened our enemies. Better than their failed big government policies that grow our debt and stand in the way of real economic growth and prosperity.
Steering clear of complaints that she was unapproachable in her 2008 run for the White House, Clinton will exercise a more friendly image.
And I hope you'll join me on this journey.
She's off to her first campaign stop in Iowa to conduct more face-to-face meetings with the electorate. Part of her strategy is to highlight her roles as mother and grandmother. Her campaign experts are banking on wooing women voters like this one.
It's about time. Well, you want something done right, you have a woman do it.
The kind of voters who will stop at nothing to elect what would be America's first female president. Sonia Artero, TVB News.
Taiwan has failed in its bid to become a founding member of the mainland-led Asia Infrastructure Development Bank. Founding members enjoy certain preferential rights, such as writing the bank's charter. According to Xinhua News Agency, the island can still apply to be a member of the bank in the future. Beijing's Taiwan Affairs Office says in a statement that the mainland will consider opinions from all sides and find an appropriate name under which Taiwan can join the bank. Taiwan's executive and legislative branches held a meeting today and decided to seek ordinary membership of the multilateral lender. The island maintains Chinese Taipei is its bottom line on the issue of membership name.
A Saudi cabinet minister has arrived in Islamabad 2 days after the Pakistani parliament rejected a Saudi request for military support in the worsening war in Yemen. Saudi Arabia and its regional rival Iran are jostling to influence Pakistan to either intervene or remain neutral in a crisis that is straining ties across the region. James Aiken has more.
Saudi Arabia's Minister for Religious Affairs arrived in Pakistan in a bid to shore up relations between the two countries as the conflict in Yemen continues to strain them. On Friday, the Pakistani parliament rejected a Saudi request for troops, boats, and planes. The Pakistani public does not want its government to get involved in the crisis, and lawmakers fear Yemen will degenerate into a sectarian conflict that could destabilize Pakistan's border with Iran. So instead of joining the Saudi-led military intervention in Yemen, the parliament urged the government to maintain neutrality. The Saudi minister said his country hopes Pakistan will stand by Saudi Arabia at all times and under all circumstances. Relations between the two countries are important because Saudi Arabia is home to two of Islam's holiest sites, and Pakistan is the second most Muslim-populated country in the world. And last year, Saudi Arabia loaned Pakistan $1.5 billion. The minister's arrival follows a visit by the Iranian foreign minister last week, in which the Iranians urged Pakistan to support dialogue in Yemen rather than sending troops. Saudi Arabia and its Sunni Arab allies bombing Yemen fear that Shiite Iran seeks to dominate the region by backing armed proxy groups in fragile countries like Yemen. Iran denies the charges. Meanwhile, Yemeni President Abdrabbu Mansour Hadi, who fled to Saudi Arabia last month, has tapped his former prime minister to be vice president. The move is aimed at strengthening the embattled executive branch of his government. But the rebel Houthis say they won't recognize any decisions by Hadi, and any decisions regarding Yemen's politics should be made through dialogue within the country. James Aiken, TVB News.
Elsewhere in the Middle Eastern region, a suicide car bombing targeting a police station in Egypt has killed at least 8 people and wounded 45 others. 5 police officers were among those killed in the blast in the city of Al-Irish, the capital of North Sinai province. The blast was so powerful that it left a deep crater and damaged several homes nearby. A militant group that has pledged allegiance to Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack. In another attack in the region on Sunday, a roadside bomb killed 6 soldiers and wounded 2 others. North Sinai is known for harboring insurgents. They have killed hundreds of members of the security services since mid-2013, when Islamist President Mohamed Morsi was ousted after mass protests against his rule.
And in local news, Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying said today new changes to the multiple entry permit scheme for mainland visitors is targeted at parallel traders. He said this had been in the works for nearly a year, stressing that it was not due to pressure from what he called uncivilized protests against parallel traders. Leung Chun-ying said the one-visit-a-week scheme was proposed to Beijing last June, aimed at curbing the practice of people buying goods here to sell on the mainland at higher prices.
The reason why it's taken nearly a year for the central authorities to make the announcement that they made this morning is partly because this is a major move. Secondly, there is preparatory work to be done.
Leung stressed that authorities were not bowing to pressure from recent anti-parallel trading protests, adding that they were in fact counterproductive in terms of government efforts in handling the issue. He thanked the central government as well as Shenzhen and Guangdong officials for understanding Hong Kong's capacity issue. The Ministry of Public Security said the new scheme was adopted at the request of the SAR government as an improvement on the tourism policy for Shenzhen residents visiting Hong Kong. The move is expected to help ease pressure in the SAR. While the new scheme has been welcomed by local lawmakers, many question how the issue of Hong Kongers engaging in grey goods trading can be dealt with.
I don't see how government can come up with a policy of restricting the freedom of movement of our own people, that is our own permanent ID card holders, from leaving Hong Kong more than once a day.
The government has set up an interdepartmental working group led by Chief Secretary for Administration Carrie Lam to handle the issue.
There will be intensified effort, collaboration, cooperation between the authorities on both sides to tackle parallel trading. And I would caution people from Hong Kong who have an interest in engaging in these parallel trading activity to observe the mainland relevant laws.
Except for the 2-can limit on milk powder that travellers can carry across the border, there are no legal provisions that apply to other goods usually involved in parallel trading activities. Instead, authorities will be looking into enforcing other laws, such as fire safety regulations in storage warehouses, illegal parking and storing goods in public spaces.
Well, there are mixed reactions towards the new policy. While some shops fear that they will lose business and may have to close down, Residents who are most affected by parallel traders welcome the new restrictions. Evelyn Leung has that story.
Parallel goods traders are expected to be the group hardest hit by the new amendment to the multiple entry permit scheme for Shenzhen residents. This trader said he will be earning less from now on. Some grey goods traders who are Hong Kong residents said the new rule won't benefit them because they are not professionals in this industry. And there are the shopkeepers. Some of them say they could be forced to close down due to an expected drop in business. Lawmaker Jeffrey Lam said the industry believes close to 30% of shops in Hong Kong could close down because of the new restriction. This means up to 3,000 people could be out of jobs in the near future. But the Hong Kong Tourism Board said more than 90% of the visitors under the multiple entry permit scheme enter and leave Hong Kong on the same day. So the new restriction will not greatly affect the number of overnight visitors coming to Hong Kong. The government has also set aside $80 million for the Tourism Board to step up the promotion of Hong Kong on the mainland. Meanwhile, those who live in areas where parallel goods traders operate in Hong Kong breathed a sigh of relief after the new policy was announced. This Fanling resident said the government should have implemented this cap a long time ago. This, he said, would have prevented the recent violent protests against grey goods traders. But he is happy that he can now walk on the streets without crowds of people around him. However, some people other than grey goods traders and shopkeepers have raised their concerns about the new policy. Among them are Shenzhen parents whose children go to school in Hong Kong. They complain that the new rule causes them inconvenience. My son is only in primary 1 and he can't cross the border and go to school alone, this father says. But some schools have already said they will help the parents to apply for family visit permits that will allow them to cross the border when necessary. Evelyn Lang, TVB News.
And so to come in our news tonight. Free-to-air TV license holders can apply to take up Asia Television's digital spectrum in the near future. The Pope in a controversy over remarks about the massacre of Armenians by Ottoman Turks. And Spider-Man in action in Dubai.
After getting wet.
I'm on a jet ski.
And upside down. It's time for
903 brake horsepower. They should have called this the Widowmaker.
Tonight, Boeing to Watch Company presents Top Gear at 9:30 on Pearl. Seeking an answer to an age-old question.
You'll be the first man to know the age of the Earth.
A scientist discovers that big business is quite literally killing humanity. Wednesday, Cosmos, a space-time odyssey at 9:30 on Pearl.
The 26th Macau Arts Festival with the theme Encounter features over 100 performances and activities, including dance performances, theatrical plays, music concerts, and many other variety shows and exhibitions. Tickets are now available through the Macau Ticketing Network. Reserve your tickets now. Macau Arts Festival. This May, encounter art your way.
Canned food is more cheaper than getting fresh food.
And is that why you're all so slim?
You are very fit. What foods is it that people love?
Easy food.
Find out which country's diet is the healthiest. Thursday, World's Best Diet at 9:30 on Pearl. The time now is 7:44. The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
And welcome back to TVB News. Chairman of the Communications Authority, Ambrose Ho, says free-to-air TV license holders can apply to take up Asia Television's digital